Serious question, guys. To anybody that supports Tottenham or likes football, whatever, one simple question. What is the point of Tottenham Hotspur? What's the point? This is what I've been thinking to myself all day today. I was thinking it the other day at work. What's the point? Now, I could go into a whole array of things, yeah? And I've got notes. I've been making notes at work, so don't watch that, man. I ain't going to miss nothing. What's the point? So if you look at, for instance, Burnley, right? When they got promoted, what's the point of Burnley? The aim or the point is them to try and get into the Premier League, maintain Premier League status and stay in there. So their model would have been of like a Brighton, Brentford, Bournemouth, yeah? Those kind of clubs that have gone in there, stayed in there for a little while and secured their places and refused to be a yo-yo team. So we can see what Burnley are trying to do. You look at Leeds, for instance. They played yesterday. Took Newcastle all the way to the wire. And everybody knows St James's Park, regardless of their form, it's a tough place to go. Leeds on another day could have won that. What's the point of Leeds? Same as Burnley with a bit more impetus to it, because Leeds will want to stay in the Premier League because they'll feel that they've always been a Premier League club. You know, when I grew up, Leeds were the team, man. I used to love them with the Harry Kewells and the Vidukas and all that. Yeboah, top players. So they'll want to do what they've done before in history. You look at Liverpool, Man City, Arsenal. No matter what they do, their main aim is to try and be the best team in the country, right? Arsenal haven't won the Premier League for 21 years. They've had a lot of, to and fro's, finishing seconds, LA, but they win tonight, mate. They firmly put themselves back on the mantle where they feel they belong. Liverpool will feel they want to do that next year. Man City want to do it the year after that. Man United, again, even though they're in a mess now, that would be what they aspire to do should they go and hire their new manager. What are we trying to do? I've never looked at Tottenham purposefully building towards doing something. So, for instance, when we challenged for the league with Leicester, and then we did it again with Chelsea, you can never tell me that was purposeful because we never spent no money. So what? Our purpose was to spend no money and beat Chelsea, Man City, Arsenal, Man United, beat all of them without spending any money or spend the money really cheaply. We had a good team then, but there was a reason why we didn't win anything, because we didn't buy winners. When we were challenging for the league, we had your Vertonghen, Eriksson, and Alderweireld. They're the only people that had really won trophies, and they'd won it at Ajax. And, even though Ajax is a bigger club, no one's gonna hype up and go mad because you won the league in Holland, because look at what Ten Hag did. Where's he now? But what's the point? Because it'd be one season you'll get a group of fans that will say, yeah, you know what, the aim is for top four. Some will say we need to finish in the European places. I'll be happy with 6th or 7th. Some will say we need to go and win an FA Cup. Some will say we need to go and win a League Cup. Some will say let's have a good run in the Champions League. But there's never been anyone within the hierarchy, within the fans, within the coaching team, and within the players that genuinely say this is what we're trying to do this year. There's no actions speak louder than words. So the actions ain't doing it. Like, what's the plan? I sat there with my son when we drew with Sunderland, and these are the things I was saying to him. He's only 9, but he understands. I'm like, we support Tottenham, but I don't know what the point of this club is anymore. What's the point? Is it for making money? We're making money, but there's other clubs making more money. Is it to win stuff? Have you seen some of the players that we've got? Do you know what I mean? Like, what's the point? Now, I've gone through the motions over the last few weeks. Before we played last night, people were telling me, Tottenham, they'll go to Bournemouth. These are the sort of games that Tottenham will win. And I'm telling them, do you realise in the last 3 games we scored 2 goals and both of them have come from a yard away from the goal? Archie Gray's tap-in and Ben Davies tap-in. 2 players that have generally scapegoated amongst our ranks. They're the people that scored. These are people that we can all agree aren't up to standard. But then it's like, I don't know what the point of Tottenham is. Because the point of Tottenham is just to exist. I'll have an Archie Gray. I'll have a Ben Davies. If it's just to exist, because that's what we're doing at the minute. There's no aspirations. There's no I can't even say what we're aiming for. It was only, 3 months ago. I think we were like second in the league and everyone's going, and I was just like, yeah, just be careful, mate, because this dinosaur stuff ain't going to take us that far. Now, look at what happened at Bournemouth yesterday with the fans kicking off with the players. It's Ange all over again, but this happened last year. Difference is Ange ain't a soft touch, Mr. Frank is. Now I've got my notes here, so I'm going to go in on people, right? I'm going to go in. I'm going to make it as short as possible because I could go on for the whole evening, but I've got stuff to do, right? I've only just got in from being outside. I'm wet from snow and all that, so I'm going to get into it. First person that I look at when I'm seeing what I'm seeing on the pitch is the manager. Regardless of what's going on with the hierarchy, no matter what players we bring in, I need a manager that goes, all right, it's a difficult situation, but this is what I want to do, right? So we all slate Ruben Amorim. I don't think he was a great manager, but at least he was like, this is what I'm going to do, and you've all got to, feed into it. So he'd play the 5 at the back. He'd have 2 defensive midfielders. Bruno got dropped into a number 8. He's got your two number 10, so to speak, that can go out wide, striker, and the most important people in his formation are the wing backs, right? And the stability at the back with the 3, because he knows that that's his formation. But the centre halves at United aren't the best they've ever had. Now it didn't work for Amorim, but I'll give him respect for going, this is what I want to do. And the likelihood is he's going to go to another club. He might go back to Lisbon. He might get another job in Italy or something, and he'll do the same thing. And everybody will go, yeah, this is what he wants to do. I can't have no respect for someone like Thomas Frank, because whenever I moan about Thomas Frank, people say to me, but this is what he did at Brentford. No, he didn't. I remember when he was at Brentford, there'll be some games where he'd be pragmatic, but sometimes he'd, press Man City. I remember watching them beat Man City comfortably when they were at their pump as well. This is when they had De Bruyne, Gundogan was there. Brentford beat them easily. And I remember thinking, this manager, for what he's got, brilliant. Why have you come to Tottenham and decided not to do that? You've literally turned into Mourinho without the minerals. That's what you are. You ain't Mourinho, mate. You've got to earn your stripes. I said it from the start, yeah. I like Thomas Frank, but the problem with him is he's too nice. In this world, you don't get too far with nice. It's always be kind. I always say this to my kids: be kind. Always be kind. If you're kind in your heart, stay that way. Don't be nice though. Don't be nice. When the kids say to me it's the same thing, it's not. Being kind is doing everything with a good heart. Being nice means no matter what someone does to you, no matter the situation, you're just nice. We've got a PE teacher, a substitute teacher at school. When the teachers used to come into the classroom with me and my friends in the classroom and they were nice, you knew you could get away with stuff. You could have a little chat about football. You could not do your homework. They'd shout at you, you start laughing. That's because you're nice. Whereas you had the other teachers that were tough. Do you know what I mean? I remember my French teacher, she was tough on me, man. And I used to think to myself, why are you giving me grief? There's other people in the class that ain't doing nothing. But when I got my GCSE results and I got an A, and she looked at me and said, that's the reason why I was strict, my mindset changed as a youngster. I went from she actually cared about me and she did all that. But some people will do that. That's what you need to do in football management. It was all right in being nicey at Brentford because it was a nice little wonder story. You can't be telling me that you came into the Tottenham job, saw what these players were doing for Ange and thought, I'll just go in there and be Mr. Nice Guy. No. The reason why Ange got over the line and won that cup is because he weren't nice. We started that Europa League final without Son. If Frank was there, mate, Son would have been up front even though he weren't firing on all cylinders. We played Son instead of Brennan Johnson. Fair enough, I know it was an own goal, but let him take the credit for that. Johnson and Ole. Thomas Frank would have lost that final because he would have been too nice. He'd have let Son play, other people play, and we would have lost that. But, we could go on about ages for that. My first thing with Thomas Frank is yesterday with that cup. What are you doing? You can't tell me that you didn't see that, yeah? Because, for instance, if I go into work tomorrow, yeah, and someone says, "Oh, Jake, do you want a cup of tea?" And I say, "Yeah, get me a peppermint tea." And they put the cup on my table and I see the Arsenal badge, I'll be like, put that in another cup or dash it in the sink. You'd see it. I wouldn't be sitting there going, this tea's nice, and then walk into another part of the building with an Arsenal cup in my flipping hand. If you're Tottenham, I'm a Tottenham fan. You're a Tottenham manager and you're walking around with a cup like, and then you're like, oh, I wouldn't do that on purpose. Come on, bruv. You think how can you not look at that cup and see Arsenal? Even if you turn it the other way around, you look, you think, why is this cup red? Turn it round, Arsenal. Waste, man. You can't be doing that. So, and then you've got the cheek to just laugh it off. I wouldn't mind it if he was doing all that, yeah, and we were playing decent football and I saw something, because I'm not going to put it 100% on Frank. Some of it is these players, and I'll get to them in a sec. But it's like, you're playing arguably the worst football I think I've ever seen. And Mourinho played it just as bad, and possibly Conte, but their football would get results. So Conte would sit there and you'd be scratching your head thinking, what's going to happen here? But you knew full well, mate, we win a tackle in midfield, play it over to Son, couple step overs, Harry Kane, the double duo, boom. We'd beat Man City. We'd beat Man United. And we didn't play great, but we didn't need to. Mourinho had probably one of the worst squads we've had. I don't know if it was as bad as this one, but we didn't finance him. And we all know with Mourinho, if he plays that way and you give him a Drogba, you give him a Frank Lampard, you give him a Materazzi, you give him a Samuel Eto'o, Militao, Ronaldo. You give him the proper players, he'll stink the gaff out and win 2-0. Trust me, Mourinho, that football is dead to me. But Mourinho would come back in this league right now. You know, the football that I'm seeing right now, it's like, the reason why I think Thomas Frank keeps his job is because this league is full of too many sweaty, pragmatic managers. And when I say that, let me list them. You know, off the top of my head, I didn't write this down. You've got Oliver Glasner. Good coach. Would I take him at Tottenham? Yes. Is he going to sweat? Yes, he is. Is he going to be a set-piece guy? Possibly. You got Thomas Frank himself. You know, we're taking 10 minutes to wait for a corner to come in. Bergval's like, you know, the most important thing about Lucas Bergval is flipping throw-ins. Right? So we got him. We got David Moyes. We got Sean Dyche. You know, Arteta does play some good football, but generally he's just the best of the sweat. And that's the reason why he's winning this league. Not the only reason. I'll give him more props because there is times where Arsenal do play football, but still it's sweaty. You've got Arne Slot doesn't really rely too tough on that, but then he's going into games with no pace. He's got Szoboszlai and Florian Wirtz on the wings with Ekatike and wondering why they can't break teams down and play exciting football when you've got Ungamoa and you've got Chiesa, another sweaty one. You've got... I can keep going. Like I said to my son, I sat him down on Sunday and said, right, be honest, yeah, with all the football you watch, name 2 teams that you'd watch and you think that was a good game. You know it's going to be a good game. Aston Villa versus Bournemouth. Aston Villa and Bournemouth are the best 2 footballing sides. Look at Brentford. Brentford got rid of Thomas Frank and everyone worried about them. They're better for it with a rookie. Thomas Frank got out of there and they look better. They got Thiago, boom. Keith Andrews is loving life. Brentford are on the map. Brentford are above us. Brentford are playing better football. Brentford will finish above us as long as we've got this manager. We're playing championship football. And if it weren't for like West Ham, Wolves and Burnley being that bad, we're here again. So everyone kept saying, oh, Andrew's gung-ho. He's gung-ho. That's the reason why we're playing crap. But we're now gung-ho the other way and we're looming around 17th again. We've been playing bad football and we could have won yesterday. And if we'd won yesterday, we would have gone 5th potentially. But we lost. We could have done that at Palace. Not Palace. Sunderland, we drew. Brentford, we drew. This guy's telling me 0-0 at Brentford. He was happy with it. Are you mad? Are you actually mad? This is why I say, what's the point of Tottenham? Because if my manager's saying that and the manager ain't sacking him, I'm just going to give you the energy that you're giving me then. If you're giving me dead energy, I'll give it back to you. This is why I don't go to games. That's why I don't buy merch. But again, I'll go on to that. You know, Thomas Frank has bought players and don't use them. You bought Paulinho and he has to fight for his position when realistically he's our best defensive midfielder. The geezer, even though he comes off the bench a lot of the time, has won the most tackles in the Premier League. So if you just sit him in front of a crap defence that we've got and just say, don't move and screen, We are all right. So you can play anything in front of him, he's fine. But what do you play in front of him? Other people that are like him. Archie Gray and Bentancur. Like, my head hurts just thinking about it. What are you doing? Do you want this job? You're playing this football. Everybody knows that Tottenham, no matter what, if it's purposeful or not, the DNA is good football. Why, for the last 5 years, I'm not seeing good football? I'm not seeing good football in general. I don't look forward to watching many games. Arsenal playing Liverpool today. 4 years ago, I'd have been like, oh, it's going to be good. It'd be Arteta learning his trade still and Jurgen Klopp coming in. And you'll be like, yeah, this is going to be a good game. Arsenal are going to put account for themselves. Liverpool, the champions. And then they're actually playing good football still. Liverpool are probably going to turn up and try and stink the gaff out. And if they do stink the gaff out, Arsenal are going to score from a corner. These are two teams that we said are going to fight for the league. And this is what I'm seeing. This is why Thomas Frank survives. Tony Pulis is going to get a job. Steve Bruce. They're all going to come out the woodwork and they're going to go, hey, mate, can we have a job? Do you know what I mean? Sean Dyche even said it. Everyone's cussing my tactics. Now, look, these tactics that we're seeing from teams were normally like the bottom four that were doing it to try and stay survive. We've got teams challenging for Europe and potentially going to win the league doing this stuff. And it's not me hating on Arsenal. The thing is with Arsenal, they started doing it when no one else was doing it. So they found a niche, started scoring from corners, and then everyone was kind of like, oh, because Arsenal doing it, we'll do it. But then now everybody's like, while Arsenal can play the football and get the goals and all this stuff, we don't score that many goals, but we've scored the second most set pieces. So without set pieces, we'd be West Ham. I don't know, man. I don't see why we should give him a chance. And the reason why I use this analogy is like, if you're in a relationship with whoever, a man or a woman, you know, whatever sex you are, right? Imagine if in my position, I'm with a woman and we've gone on a few dates, it's all nice, the honeymoon period was sweet. Everything was nice, man, right? But then all of a sudden, it's like, I'm coming home from work, she's in my yard, and I don't know, things are going missing. So I'm thinking, this girl ain't stealing from me, surely. But I'll go, you know what, it ain't her. And then I find out it's me just, you know, I've misplaced stuff. But then now she starts moaning about other stuff. It gets to the point where whenever I say, can I just use your phone to ring my kids, all of a sudden she's like, no. And I'm feeling that she's hiding stuff. I'm going to be looking at it thinking, this isn't the woman that I thought I was getting. So I'd make quite a quick decision. I don't think this is going to work, and move on. And wish her all the best, and I wish myself all the best. I'll do that for my own peace. So why can't we do that? Why can't Tottenham do that? This ain't going well. You've got the manager is getting booed. Like, I looked at him and thought, imagine going work and everybody's like, yeah, boo, piss off, all of that. That'd be horrible. He's got to deal with that. But it's your fault. I normally feel sorry for managers. You know, I look at Ange. I did feel sorry for him. But you brought it on yourself. You don't work on defence. And then it's the same with him. You don't work on attack. Why can't we have a balanced manager? There's managers like Areola. You know, the reason why he's conceding goals because he probably hasn't been given the funding to get better defenders. You go and give him better defenders, better midfielders, and better attackers along with Semenyo. Bournemouth are getting in the Champions League, mate. Let me tell you that, if that was the case. But because it's Bournemouth, they've got to get rid of a Semenyo. My thing was like, why don't we get rid of Thomas Frank? Areola's going to be a bit disappointed Semenyo's going. Give him a knock and go, how about you come over here then and we'll buy you someone. And actually let him buy who he wants, not the crackers that we've got. I mean, some of the players we've got, I mean, Thomas Frank out, but I'm going to move on to the players because we ain't got much time here. Players. Where do I start? Like, I'm all for Thomas Frank getting sacked, right? Now, imagine in an ideal world, we got Jurgen Klopp out of retirement. He decides, yeah, I'm gonna go and join Tottenham. When you look at the players that we've got, who survives? Jurgen Klopp comes in, he does a few training sessions, has a few games here. Based on what you're seeing over the last 2 seasons, who survives? Mickey van der Ven, Jed Spence, possibly, Bergvall, Maddison and Kulusevski, depending how they come back, but don't know. Possibly a Solanke, I don't know. But they're all I don't know. The ones that would definitely be there would be Van der Ven and Bergvall. So if we bring in a world-class manager, that's who's good enough. 2 players. You know, Kulusevski might not come back. Maddison might come back. They're players that are good enough going forward. Going back, I'm not too sure. But the rest of them, I mean, is Klopp going to keep Richarlison? No. Is he going to keep Kudus? Possibly. Is he going to keep Kolo Muani? Like Kolo Muani and Odegaard, yeah, them guys, man. The French connection, all three of them, they drive me mad. They've got all the talent in the world, but it's like, it feels like they've had a spliff before the game. So, like, you feel like, if I feel like if I was on the pitch with Odegaard, I'd be like, hey, bruv, are you all right? Like, we're in a game here, yeah? And you could tell Odegaard would just go, oh, yeah, sorry, mate. Hey, Kolo, hey, what are you looking at the sky for? Sorry. It feels, if I was in midfield, that's what I'd have to do with them. Hey, boys, are you hello? We're at the Vitality and we're losing 2-1. Are you okay? These are the sort of players we've got. All the talent in the world. But no minerals, man. There's nothing up there. And we haven't got a manager that's going to get that out of them. Like I said, you can have a Klopp, a Guardiola, Fergie back in the day, Wenger. They might get some out of them, but you're not going to get consistent performances because these guys don't do it for me. Mentally. Physically, they're all, they're strong. They go gym every day. Yeah. But it's like, again, it's a player thing and Thomas Frank. Because Thomas Frank will play Kolo Muani on the right wing when I've never seen him really play on the wing and he doesn't know how to track back. And even when he does track back, he doesn't know how to be aware. Why would you have a winger doing that? If I'm Thomas Frank or Kolo Muani, I'll do what Liverpool did with Salah. Don't track back, mate. There's no point you running back and knackering yourself out when you can't even defend. Be in the half space, and when we're on the counter-attack, we're relying on you to run, because the geezer can run. The geezer can run, and if he gets time, can probably shoot and cross. But we're playing him right wing back. We're playing him in his defensive system. It's just a shambles. No player survives. But then, again, when I say about the mentality of these players, look at all the disciplinary issues. You've got Romero. Well, like, what are you doing? Romero coming out and going on about, the hierarchy needs to come out. Bruv, you need to start doing your job. You're the captain. In a weird, I'm happy for you to call out the hierarchy, but not now. Because you're going on about them showing up when we're doing well. That's what you do, though. When the going gets tough, you start kicking people at Liverpool. You start shouting at referees. You start bringing it down on your chest and thinking you're like Pele when Sunderland are pressing us. You can't tell me you're not a problem as well, mate. There's characters like you, Richarlison, on big money, bought for big money, and you are part of the problem. I get what he did. I'm fully on board with calling out the board. Why are you not calling out the board when you're getting a new contract? Why are you not calling out the board when we ain't lost in 5 games? You're only doing it just to take the pressure off yourself. What's the board supposed to do with what you was doing on the grass? You can't defend. Where was you for the Evanescent goal? Is that Vinay's fault? Is that Joe Lewis's fault? Is that Enig's fault? Is that Lange's fault? No, that was you not concentrating. That's you and Mickey van der Ven kicking off. You're part of the reason as well. You're a good defender, but you lost your man for the Evanescent goal. Pedro Porro kicking off for the fans. You didn't go to Semenyo, and that's why we conceded. Who do these geezers think they are? The fans are right to boo them. The fans are right to boo the lot of you, to boo the whole establishment. If I was in their way, and I'll be booing the absolute lot. Because what do you want us to do? Oh, God, oh, no worries, boys. Better luck next time. You ain't doing your job. I'm all for losing. When we lost yesterday, that was the one time I thought, you know what, we performed better. But even performing better, we lose games. Thomas Frank decided we're going to press. Why are you doing it now? It's all a shambles, all a mess. But like I say, if I'm going to say 70, 60% of it's on Thomas Frank and his tactics, I don't blame him, because even if he gets tactics right, these players are crap. Where do we go from that? And then all these players do, like I say, it's a mentality thing. They're either getting sent off or they're in social media doing it like, oh, sorry to let you down, but we'll go again. Football players should just be banned from socials. Tottenham can lose 4-0 and Richarlison thinks he's going to make me feel better by going, oh, I'm sorry to the fans and we'll go again next week. No, how about you go about doing things now? What are we waiting for next week? Do it yesterday. What are you doing? If I'm not as fit as these guys, yeah, but if someone was paying me 100 grand a week, I'll be putting in a lot more effort than this, man. A lot more. You could put me on that pitch right now and everyone will go, you know what? He ain't up to standard, but he ain't stopped running, man. I'll run until I pull muscles for the team I play for, let alone for the team I support. I could go and play for an Netherlands side right now, and one thing people will tell you is like, flipping hell, Jake makes sure that he runs for the team. If I'm not running for the team, it's because I'm injured. Why can't you do it? You're getting paid bare money. There's millions of people, there's little kids that want you to do it. But again, sometimes when I'm watching the games, it's like, what's the point of Tottenham? What's the point of giving energy? What's the point? You know, and then when I finally go into the players, again, injuries, you know, I'm not going to go into them, but no Kudus for long term. Bergvall looks long term. Bentancur looks long term. What are the hierarchy going to do? Absolutely nothing. And those are the people that I'm going to move on to now. We've had Kudus injured. Long term. We've just got rid of Brennan Johnson. So when we got rid of Brennan Johnson, we already knew we need another right winger to cover for Kudus. What happens? Kudus is injured. What do? Jack. It's bad enough that we're playing bad football and the manager ain't got a clue and he's lost the dressing room, he's lost the fans. Why is the change not being made? Why? What are we waiting for? If I'm at my job, yeah, and all of a sudden I've lost the team that I manage, yeah, and my manager has no confidence in me, and every time I walk in, someone goes, oh, here comes Jake again, man. Honestly, I can't deal with him working here. What, you're going to let me keep coming work every day? When my team don't trust me, I can't get the best out of my team, my manager don't rate me, and nor does anyone at the company. Do you know what I mean? If anything, if they're not looking to get rid of me, I'll leave because it obviously ain't working, is it? I've been at jobs before where it ain't worked. I've walked in, said it ain't worked, and I've handed in my notice and I've gone. I've been at jobs where it has worked and I've been there for 8 years. That's how it goes. Why can't it be the same for a football manager? Why are the hierarchy not doing anything? Do you know what I mean? My thing is, if you want to get to the hierarchy, guys, stop spending money on Tottenham. Stop it. You want change, the only way you're going to get change is changing yourself. Do you know what I mean? There's no, if you, again, I'll go back to relationship. If you're in a relationship with somebody and they keep doing the same thing, and you're not either splitting up with them or sitting down with them or doing counselling, you're just as bad as them because you're just accepting it. Why are we accepting it? I ain't been to a Tottenham game at the Lane for ages. Not because I don't want to, because not because I can't or whatever, because I don't want to. I'm doing my bit. I'm saying I'm not giving money to something that I'm not happy with. Now, it's not to say that if Tottenham start winning stuff, I'm going to go down there. My thing is I want us to see something. I want to see a point to Tottenham. So if they came out and said, we just want to be Europa League champions and keep trying to win the Europa League, fine, say that and I'll be happy with it. And if we go and win the Europa League again, we've hit our target. But you're not telling me what's happening. So in my mind, I'm a winner. I want to win when I go to work. I'm a winner when I want to play. I can have a kick around my son. I want to win. So if I want to win, I want Tottenham to be able to at least show me that they're trying to win, but they're not doing that at the minute. So what is the point? Why am I going to go down there and go, oh, you know what, I'm a Spurs fan, I'm diehard, I've just spent 300 quid getting here, getting back and drinking and getting a hotel, but I know we're going to lose and I know... Why am I doing that? Each to their own. I'm not cussing fans. If you want to go and do that, you know, there's people that are on the season ticket list. They don't want to lose it and then all of a sudden have to be back in the queue. I hear that. But there's other fans that just turn up, pay the tickets all the time. What for? If you ain't got a motive, I ain't paying for it. It's as simple as that, man. And the last people I'm going to speak to is the fans. You know, them away fans, fair play to you. You spoke up in your voice. But what Tottenham fans need to do is stop the division, man. Because I can say this right now. I guarantee you someone will pop up in a group that I'm in and go, oh, fuck, like, you know, it's not Thomas Frank, it's not Thomas Frank. Fine, that's your opinion. But then everyone's got a segregated opinion. But I already know, I don't want Thomas Frank there because of the tactics, but I'm not saying that will fix everything. I just don't want to see this type of turgid football. I don't want to see this. I'm cooking food and saying to my son, oh, can't wait for the game. But then deep down, I'm lying. Because in a weird way, I'm excited, and then I look at the lineup and then I see Thomas Frank chewing gum and I'm like, what'd you get excited for? So if I'm doing that in my living room with my kids on a Sunday and I'm like, oh, Tottenham are playing, why am I going to go and spend £300 to do it? No. That's me, and that's how I decide to support my team. I follow, you know, there's a difference between, I don't support Tottenham, I follow Tottenham. There's a difference. I support my kids. So if my son doesn't do well at football, if my daughter performs in an act and doesn't do so well, I will keep supporting them until I'm on this earth. Until I leave this earth, sorry. Doesn't matter whether they're 9, 12 or 59. If I'm still here, I'll support my kids no matter what mistakes they make. I'm not, like, with Tottenham, I follow them. They're in my heart. I'm never going to change another team. I'm always going to, follow Tottenham. I keep using the word support, but I'm changing my words. I don't support Tottenham because there's no point. There's no point if my support's not going to get me anywhere. I'll just follow them. I look at them and think, yep, that's my team. If they win, cool. If they lose, cool. Until you tell me what the point of Tottenham is, as the owners, the players, if I see some sort of cohesion to where we're trying to head to, I might start going to games. But until then, I'm Frank out, Enoch out, 15 players out. And on that note, I'm out. Before you do anything, like, share, subscribe, comment. I will get back to you. I'm going to go and chill out and have my dinner now and get out of this wet jacket that I've managed to soak up from all that nutty snow. But love, people. Take care.